Hello dear programmer, welcome to Darshan Dev. I'm Darshan and this is our fourth video in the HMS series. So we are going to make our hotel management system app a bit beautiful today. Okay, so I have a couple of HTML and CSS files over here. I'm gonna open them with our code editor and also in our browser, and I'm gonna show you how they look. I've kept them ready so that we don't waste much time in it, because we are here to learn Django and how to implement it. Also, I'm going to take you through the HTML and CSS code, but that won't be the center of our thing. Okay, so server has started at 5500. I'll open home.html for you first. So it's going to look this way. So hotel management system app, I've just named it Hotelina. I think that's a cool name. And then we have a few cards over here. These are basically divs, and I've just duplicated the image and the text, and any of these cards just go to detail.html, and this is how our detail looks like. So this is our deluxe suite, and we have some details about it. It won't be such a paragraph, but you can put beautiful details like different things like the views. It can be sea view or something, and it can be the number of beds, the number of facilities, or anything that you want, but it should be beautiful, not this. But still, it's just a placeholder. And here we have the beautiful form, and this is what I was talking about in the last video. This is the input type date time local, so you get the date time pickers, and here we can submit our form, and this is to go back to our home. So this is the template that we're going to implement in our project. So let's go to our project over here. And also you might have seen that in this app we don't take in the category of the room, because over here in home we have a separate detail page for each and every of the rooms, and because the person is on that detail page, we already know the category of the room. It's the best thing to take in as little input. I mean, allow your customer to do as little work as possible. That's the best user experience, right? So just give 2 inputs and book the room. That is it. So simple. Okay, so we're going to make a bit of radical changes in our code, but first of all, let's start our server on 8000. Let's start it over here. And before we move on to changing our app's code, I'm going to show you the home.html and detail.html which I've created. So I've properly commented them so you can read it. So this is our main style sheet, that's home.css over here. We are going to go through that too. And this is our brand, that's Hotelina, that you had seen the heading, that one. And this is our main content in the content div. And in the content div we have more divs which are of class room. Okay, so the cards that you saw there were these divs, this div and so on. They have the link to detail.html. This link will be dynamic in our app, and also it's just a link to one image. Right now we are not going to make changes to our models, so we'll just implement one image or many images if you want from this Django static. And here we have the h2 and p, that's the small detail of our app, of our room. Just okay, so that is it in our home.html. Let's go to our home.css. So inside our home.css we just have some basic CSS, root CSS over here. So this is padding, margin and box sizing, border box, and these are a few common things like font family, line height, color, background color, and all of those sort of things. Even this is the same, but here I would like to mention that I've used flexbox, and if you want to use the same kind of code, you can either pause the video, copy it, or simply you can go to the GitHub repository that I'll link down in the description. So we move on to detail.html, which is our this page, detail page, this one. So let's see its code. So here I have a link to Font Awesome. Okay, so if you log into Font Awesome, you will get a JavaScript link which you can press copy and paste in your head, so that you can use icons. The icon that I've used here is this reverse arrow, left arrow. So in detail.html, this is our detail.css, that's our main style sheet. Main content, that's our content div. Then we have the room image, which you see on the left side over here. Then we have this room div, that is the room details. So on the most basic level, we have this room image and a room div, that's over here where I'm making a square, and inside there you have three divs. Okay, div 1 is back to home, this is for this one. Div 2 is room information, that is this div. Okay, and div 3 is the booking form, which is this div. You get it? And inside the booking form, we have coupled our label and input in input div over here, and over here. So we have check in, check out, and book the room. Book the room is the submit button. So that's how we have modularized our code and made it quite beautiful here. So that way we go into our detail.css and have a look there. This root CSS is kind of same from home.css. This is the CSS for the main div, and even here I've used Flexbox very extensively. Actually everywhere I've used Flexbox. So with minimum code I can get all the flexibility from mobile devices to large TVs to desktop computers, everything. I'll show you that just in a second. So that's the code for our subdivs that I had said. The home, room info, and form. The home is this one, room info is this one, form is this one. You can pause the video, copy it, or you can just go to the repo, and this is inside our subdivs. So this is our HTML and CSS code. Let's move on to actual project and implement this template which I have created over there. So right now we have this set up. This is our URL configuration: room list, booking list, book. Right now we don't need booking list. Booking list is just to check out if our booking is present there. Okay, that's gonna be on the site of the administrator of the hotel, but this room list and book are gonna be on the side of the client. So when we go to our room list, right now it looks quite ugly, and that goes the same for a book. And also we're going to make quite a few radical changes over here that we're going to make in our forms.py, because we're going to remove this room category and get it from the detail page. Okay, so we go here, and now we're going to make the changes. So I'm not going to remove the booking view, this one which inherits from form, but I'm going to make a new view which is based on our basic view. Okay, because we are going to handle get and post requests very differently, and also we have to merge kind of detail and form views together. So let's go one level, let's come one level up so that we can handle it properly. So now what we're going to do is simply name it something. What should we name it? We can name it room view. So this room view is going to inherit from the view that we have imported, and then we're going to define the get and post methods. The get is going to take self, request, args, and quarks. Request, star, args, star, quarks. Let's copy that for the post. Okay, for the get request, what we are going to do is take in the request and just return an empty form and the detail. Well, I think it would be better if we do kind of a URL configuration before moving on. But before that, we can do one thing that I thought would be good. We can do it room detail view, mind the spelling, and this would be room list view. That would be really good, very descriptive. This is room list view, this is room detail view. We won't need the booking view later because we're going to handle the booking over here. But let's go here and change the names. So room, what's the name I've put here? Room list view and room detail view. So I gotta add view here, and also I have to add room detail view. And room detail view, I'll copy it, I'll paste it. It's gonna be room slash category. Okay, and we don't need to pass in this str colon something like that, int colon something like that, because if you do just category, it is by default string str. And here you have to do the room view, room detail view, and even here you have to do room detail view. Okay, now we are done with our URL configuration. Let's handle our views. Now we know that we are going to get this category variable from our URL. We can handle it over here. I just accidentally closed views. Yeah, over here we can get that URL as room category. I'll make some space. Wait a second. So room category equals self.quarks.get, and to avoid an exception here, like if by accident someone types something over there, like instead of going to our normal links, people type something into the address bar, it can mess things up. So to avoid that, you can do something like you can pass in a second argument, none. Okay, so room category is self.quarks.get at category or none. That's the way. So now we have our room category. We can now filter our rooms based upon that. So we make a room list. Room list is room.objects.filter, category equals category, category equals category. Now we have our room list. Now inside our room list, we are going to check for the availability and then book the room. So I'm going to copy and paste my code from this view to this view. So we already have filtered our rooms. So I'm going to make our available rooms list from over here. I'll copy this code, paste it over here, and check for any indentation mistakes. Everything looks fine. But here's the thing, check availability, room data check-in, data check-out. Now we don't have this data. Now the thing is that we are handling this get view. Well, actually we won't need this logic over here. We would need this logic, all of it, in the post, because this is when we have the category, when we have all of it, actually just from the second line, because category would be needed, and we would get the category of the room from the URL and then render the categories images and the prices and everything, and then the person will be able to book through the form. Okay, so let's cut this code, paste it in our post. We'll handle it later. So for now we have our category, and then we are going to get a room from the category. So our room equals room dot objects dot get. Oh, we don't need to do this, we already have the filtered list, right? Oh no, we don't have that. In just a second we can copy this, we can make our room list from here. So room list is room dot objects dot filter category is category, and we can simply take the first room from the category. Just in a second I'll tell you what we're going to do here. So this is our first room, right, from this category. Now that room has a category's name, and that category's name we are going to give into our context. And now since we have got the room with the category that we have passed in, we can now get or give in the context anything that we want, like the room's images, the room's other details and everything that are on the model of the room. But right now what we need is simply this category name. Deluxe Suite is a category name, you get it? And over here in home.html, wait a second, I don't think we have it running, so let it be. Over there in home.html2 we have just the category names required. So here in here we are going to pass the category name, but before that what we're going to do is simply return a render. Return render to our form, not form, what's it, we are simply going to move our template from there to here. So home.html and detail.html will move them, and also the CSS files. Actually they have a different place in Django. If you just want to, okay, just a second, we'll paste them over here in the templates directory. They're not getting pasted. So here I have them in my templates directory, home.html, detail.html. So I'm going to rename this home.html to roomlistview.html, and this detail.html to roomdetailview.html. Room list view, and this one's gonna be room detail view. That's all the renaming. Now room list view will be linked to our not room list view, room detail view will be linked over here. So I'm going to return a render there. So I pass in room detail view over here, don't forget .html, and then I'm going to pass in context, and here we create a context dictionary in which we are going to put values soon, and the absolute necessity that we are going to put here is category. So we pass in room category in there, and now we save it. We already have defined room category, that's the reason we don't need this room anymore, and neither the room list, but maybe we will need it later, so I'll just keep it. So we go to our room detail view.html and use our context in order to display our over here, in order to display our, what do we say, that category name in this h1. So what's the name of, yeah, that's room category. I put it in there. That's our template variable. I save it, and let's refresh our server. room list is not defined. Okay, that's from our urls.py room list.asview. Oh, I've changed it to room list view, right? I save it and now it should work fine. Refresh. Now let's go to our actual view, that's room slash category. So since I have passed in this category, I get it over here. But here's the issue. Whatever I pass in here, like this, I would get it returned here, but this is not category. So that's the reason we had imported our, not imported, filtered our room list, and from there we are going to get the category. And if we don't get the room list and the room, then it's gonna be that we are going to return some other error handling page to the user. Okay, so now we have our room. Now we are going to return the rooms category over there. So instead of room underscore category, I'm going to return room.category. I save it and now we'll refresh it. Category is not defined. Which one? Okay, room.objects.filter category equals category. Category is not defined. Okay, we have to pass in room category here. We save it and now let's go over here, refresh. Okay, string object has no attribute category, room.category, but we have our keyword arguments. That's category is this thing that we passed up here. Well, there's the thing. Here instead of room category, there should be room list, because that's the query set that we are getting from our database, right? So this is our room now, and now we are going to get it right. Let's refresh, and here we should get the right error. List index is out of range. Now what we need to do here is check for an if statement. If so what I'll do here is simply if room, our context is this, let's align it properly. If room, this will be rendered in just one more tab, and if there's no room, then we'll return an HTTP response just for now, because we don't expect that to happen. Error handling, we'll do that later. Return HTTP response, category does not exist. We save it and then we go into our browser, refresh. It should return us the right error. Room is room list 0. I should move it over here. Control X over here. If room list, I should check for the length of the room list. That's the best thing. If length of room list is greater than 0, then we are going to run this code. I refresh it. Still index out of range. Room is room list 0. If length of room list is greater than 0, then we are running this code, right? Okay, there wasn't a problem over here. I just refreshed it quite a few times and it worked. So when we go to room/NAC, we get NAC over here. When we go to room/YAC, we should get YAC over there. In similar manner, we should get King, Deluxe and all the things. and if we pass in some gibberish like some insane people would do sometime with our app, and we can't just ignore that case, it would just return category does not exist, and that's fine. That's how we'll handle it for now. But instead of this YAC, we want something like AC suite, or when we do this NAC, we want something like non-AC suite, not this NAC. Okay, so we are going to create a dictionary out of this, where do we see that, out of this tuple, and then we are going to render these values, the human readable, the right side ones. Okay, so over here, when we have got the right input, that's our room list contains something, we are going to take the room categories, and we are going to make a dictionary out of it, and then we are going to get the room.category from it, room.category, and to that we are going to assign a value that is what do we say, room category, or something else. No, let's just do that. We are just going to reassign the value, because over here we have done the room category itself. Okay, let's change it. Instead of room category, we'll keep it category. Over here, category is self.quarks.get category, and category equals category. That's our query set. And if the query set contains something, we are going to take the first item from the query set, and then we are going to assign a new variable, that's room category. And whenever you do this .get, you should also do none, because it can be some issue with that. You'll just avoid an exception actually. I'll save it and then go to my browser. Now I refresh it. Now it should actually give us the value. Wait, let's pass in something else. It gives us the right thing. Let's pass in YAC. Okay, just wait a second. Let's see, what are we passing the right thing into the context? No, we are passing room.category. That's the issue. Now we have to pass room_category, which is the variable assigned over here, which is from the dictionary that we are getting from this models tuple. We are making a dictionary over here and then getting room.category from it. That is, we are getting these, putting these as keys and these as values, that way. Now we save it and we go over to our room detail, refresh it. Now when we say YAC, we get AC, and now when we do some gibberish, we still get that thing. That's right. And when we do NAC, it should give us non-AC, and now when we do king, it should give us king. No, not king, I mean KIN, all in capital. It should give us king. That's the way it goes. So now we have this, now we have access to our room category, and then we are going to just book the room, and that's the way. But one thing that you might have noticed over here is that this is not the actual home.html that we used to work on, right? Is it? Because we haven't handled our CSS properly, but we'll do that later. We are working on logic. Let's do the logic right now. Now one thing that remains in our get view is our form, so we just need to pass in our form, and that's it. So we make a form variable over here. What's our form's name? Availability form. So I'm going to pass in form over here. Form. We save it, and now I'm going to show you how to handle the form over here. As you might remember, in Django we simply do this thing like form.asp, but now since we have our CSS on each and every thing over here, we cannot do that, and now we need to do something else. But just But just for comparison, I'll render our form in the normal Django way, in the Django fashion, and I'll show you how do we handle it. So we are going to write Django form here, giving a heading, and then I'll just quickly make a form. And here what do we need? Oh, we just need the CSRF token post, and then we need button submit. We define the method post. Let's go over here, define the CSRF token, and then we'll be done. So CSRF token, I save it, and when I go to our detail.html, we should see our form over there. So this is our form, and now we have to compare it with this form and match a few things. So when we match those things, Django won't be able to figure out that we have changed the form. So now we press F12 or any developer tools, I mean according to your browser. If you're in Chrome or Chromium, you can use F12. Open your developer tools and search this form and this form up. So it's inside room, inside this booking form. So this is the form that I have made, and this is the form that Django has made. Okay, now inside Django you get this input type hidden, this CSRF middleware token. Anyways, we are going to put that over here too. That doesn't matter. What matters is this PPP, because form.asp, right? So it has a label that is for ID underscore room underscore category, and we have a selection that is of the name room category, and ID is ID underscore room category. Okay, and when I say room category, that's room underscore category, but we don't need this selection and everything because we are going to change our form anyways, and we'll do that before we change the HTML form. But let's see the second one, the check-in and check-out. That's important because we're going to implement that over here. Okay, so in the check-in we have a label for ID underscore check-in, and the input of check-in is type text, but we don't need this type text. That's the reason we are doing this, right? And also the name is check-in, and it's required, and ID is also ID underscore check-in. So ID is ID underscore check-in, and matching with this ID is the for, that is ID underscore check-in. And in a similar manner we have ID underscore checkout and ID underscore checkout over here. So that's the thing that we need to copy into our HTML form that we've created here from the Django form. So that's all we need to see here. So I go here and then make the changes. So ID underscore check, label for ID underscore check-in. Oh, I have done a mistake here. It should be for checkout, and the ID should be ID underscore checkout. Name can be checkout, right? There is no issue with the name. Actually they have not given name. Yeah, I think they have given it. So name is check-in and name is checkout. That is important. Okay, this comes from Django and this should match. That is the point over here. So when you match that thing, it doesn't matter in how many pieces your form is. You don't have to do this form.asp. You get as much flexibility and customizability that you want, but just ensure that whenever you render this Django form that is over here, wait, I'll show you. So form action method equals post, this one is Django form, and form ID booking form is the form that I have made. And when Django makes a form, it gives certain names and certain IDs to its inputs and labels that you should match into your form so that Django does not get a hint that we have changed the form. Okay, so this is the name, this is the name, check in, check out, check in. So we have to give the ID check in, and we also have to do it here, and that's it. And instead of this text input, we are going to do datetime dash local input. We can do those changes. I'm going to save it, and also we have to add something like CSRF token over here, right? Because now this HTML form is going to be implemented in Django. Ready-made security. We save it, and then method is post. Definitely action, we don't need to specify, ID is there, that's for our CSS. Let's remove this Django form and this thing. Now what we can expect is that our form that we have made here in HTML and CSS would work, I mean actually work. I'll close the DevTools, refresh the page. Now we'll have only one form, and that should be working. Now I give a date time 25, I'll give it 27, I'll book the room. Oh, it says category is not defined. Okay, we have not handled our post yet. Okay, oh, that's the issue. Let's go handle our post, because this is the thing, we have to handle everything. Room.objects.filter category is category, but Django actually handles a lot for us. If you go into Node or something, or React, even React, a lot of things that we have to handle, that's way too much. We should be grateful actually. Room.objects.filter category equals category, room list. So it's views.py36, views.py36. We come in here, that's our post. Category is not defined, it says. Definitely it would be self.quarks. We have to take it from quarks this way. Even if it's get or post, this thing, it does not change. We have to define category ourselves, and this time we are not going to have it in our quarks. We are going to have it in somewhere else. Like, well, I just checked, we still have it in our quarks. So we have our room list and we have all of it. So what are we going to return? We are going to return booking, or else we are going to return all are booked, try another one. So I'll go to room, I mean not room, room/kin. Okay, and here I'm going to do a booking from 1 to 2, hoping that it's available. Data is not defined. Okay, we haven't handled it that properly. Check availability, check in and check out. So I'm going to take it from our form, and our form is going to come from here. So form equals availability form, and I'm going to pass in request.post into it. And we are going to do this in the if form dot is valid, but the thing is that the form is not going to be valid because we are not going to pass in the room categories into it. We cut that part, we save it, and this is going to be our form now. Now in our availability form, we are going to do this if form dot is valid. Remember the parentheses, if you forget them, it's not going to work. And I'm going to indent our code. If form is valid, we are going to do all of this. I mean, if form is valid, we are going to just a second. I think if form is valid, we are not going to do all the logic in here. Simply here we'll extract the data. Data equals form dot clean data, and then we have access to our data variable. Then available rooms, oh, it's already there. Okay, I think this should work now. All of it is done. Now we are just saving it, going over here, resubmitting the form. Okay, DKD has booked this from this. That's the way it goes. So guys, now the thing that remains is CSS linking, and we do this by going to Django docs. So I'll type Django static. So we are going to serve the Django static files for our development server. In this manner, we should have this Django static URL in our settings.py. Go to your settings.py, paste it over there. It's an HMS folder, settings.py. Go to the bottom, static URL, static, it's already there. Okay, let's add this URL configuration plus static. We'll copy it, add it to our URL patterns, the main URL patterns. I paste it here, but there should be a plus. Also from django.conf we need to import settings. Let's save it. Let's run our server. Name static is not defined. What's the issue? Let's see. Okay, we need to import static from Django conf URL static. Perform all the imports properly. Okay, now if we go to our page and refresh it, we need to configure our templates properly. So here we are going to first load static. That's a template tag. So in the code brackets, that is percentage and curly, we do this thing, load static, and over here in the source, instead of just hard-coded URLs, you use static. So curly bracket percentage static space a quote, then enclose this in quotes, and here percentage and curly braces. So that's how you do it. I'll save it. Oh, I should have read the docs properly. If we go here, we can see all these steps. That's so simple. We already have this, then we have done the load static. Then what we need to do is simply inside our app make a static folder and make a subdirectory of our app, and inside that put our resources and refer to that as my app / something. So instead of making the static folder outside, I'll just move it in my app hotel, move it. So now in my hotel I have static, and then inside that I have hotel, and inside CSS I have home.css and detail.css. So now the way I handle it is, in the static I give hotel /css /detail.css, and now I've done it all according to the process. I'll also restart the server, and that should work fine. Now I go here, refresh it, not here, here. Oh yeah, I got it. Now I go home, home. Okay, now we have to fix our links. Okay, home does not go to /home. Home goes to our home URL, that is /. Oh, instead of / we can just give a URL in this manner. That's the best way, not yell URL. And we are going to pass in our URL pattern name, and our URL pattern name is room list view, that is room list. Not room list, right? I think room list. Let's go here. Oh, we have a lot of it open. Gosh. Okay, it's here. it's room list. We save it, and now we should get the right URL. Oh, room list is not a okay, room list is not valid, but hotel colon room list, this one is valid. We save it and then refresh, and now this should go to the right URL, and it does. And now I think we are done with it. Let's book a room and let's get done with this video, because the thing is that this video is getting really long. Room/NAC. Let's book a normal humble room from 1st of July to 2nd of July. I'm booking it in past. God, my tongue is slipping. We have done it for a long time. 51 minutes of video. Oh gosh, if you have made it till the end, you're great. Just if you like the video, if you learned something new, don't forget to like it, subscribe to stay tuned, and we'll just keep learning new things. Bye bye, take care.